Tariq, let's start with you. Overall, looking at the NFL, not the Bills specifically, how do you view the landscape with all this research you've done?
Well, let me just tell you this. After Trevor Lawrence, it just gets real interesting because apparently we have a fascination with quarterbacks in the NFL. How many people had Zach Wilson? How many people had Trey Lance? How many different people knew all of these quarterbacks even existed in college football before we got here? We knew of Justin Fields and we knew of Trevor Lawrence. And now we've got about 3 or 4 other quarterbacks that could possibly go in the first round. Who knew that Mac Jones was going to be this high of a potential pick, possibly going to San Francisco? If San Francisco even knows what they really want, because apparently they have a quarterback, but they don't like him, and he's in trade talks every single week and hurt every single day that they play. So I'm not quite sure exactly where to go, but we love to push quarterbacks all the way up to the top. We love to draft quarterbacks as high as possible. This is going to be an offensive-minded draft this year. Defensive players lower in the draft. I'll talk about that with the Bills a little bit later on, though.
Pat?
Yeah, no, I'm with Tariq 100%. Like, it is funny how I knew 2 quarterbacks' names, and I watched a little bit of college football before this started, and now I know 74 quarterbacks' names. Like, when the heck did Mac Jones become comparable to Tom Brady? Because I've heard that from multiple people. He could be Tom Brady. He could be the next Tom Brady. First of all, Tom Brady was taken in the 6th round, not the first. Second of all, where the heck did he come from? And when's the last time an Alabama quarterback did anything in the league? Joe Namath? Legitimately. Is there anyone before that? Like, I don't know. Like, haven't we learned enough doing these drafts and watching quarterbacks perform that, one, in the last 25 years, quarterbacks taken outside of number 1, but in the top 5 don't fare well. And 2, it seems the larger school quarterbacks are the ones that struggle the most at the NFL level because of the talent around them. That tells me get the heck away from Mac Jones and maybe even Trevor Lawrence.
Or Justin Fields. I mean, you look at Tariq was pointing out the fact that Ohio State doesn't have much of a history of producing good pro quarterbacks. And like Tariq does his prep, mine is always like, I look at mock drafts until I can't see anymore. The majority of the mock drafts out there have San Francisco taking Fields ahead of Jones in that 3 spot, which is the first interesting pick, Tariq.
Well, it's either that or Jones or anything else San Francisco wants to do, but possibly trade, which every GM has now mentioned. The Bills, well, not Brandon Beane. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But the Giants are interested in trading. The Cowboys are interested in trade. I've heard more trades that I've heard of guys that are interested in going either offense or defense, which makes me believe San Francisco might have that option. But I'm not even sure what San Francisco wants to do because you have Garoppolo. You mentioned him in trades. I don't know if they're going to take Mac Jones. If they do take Mac Jones, is he worth it that high? Then you waste the pick. San Francisco, look at where they were in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. It seems like they're in the middle of a quick rebuild, which never works.
Does anybody care if New England drafts a quarterback besides me?
No, because if you're going to draft a quarterback, look, it's not like the Patriots are quarterback whisperers, right? Like, I mean, you see how Garoppolo's doing. You saw how Matt Castle was when he left New England. The guy that you found, again, was a 6th pick all those years ago, and Belichick was ready to lose his job. Heck, take a quarterback every round this year. It's not going to scare me at all with the offense you got around him.
Ryan Mallett.
I forgot about Ryan Mallett, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the better ones. A cautionary tale out there. There was a draft in 1996. The top 3 picks were quarterbacks. Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, and Akili Smith. To one of your guys' points, it says there's a real good chance of failing with that quarterback pick. I mean, there's 2 out of 3 right there completely washed out.
Whereas you could get a possible a game-changing cornerback, a defensive player, and really totally change your offense. I mean, this is where I think the later rounds for the Bills is so beneficial. You could actually find guys to add and plug into your team defensively. I think with all the players that are available offensively, people are sleeping on the defense for this draft because guys are not being evaluated that highly. Everybody wants to pick up their offense. I just think that the defense might have a little bit better draft this year.
Yeah, to that point, again, there may be only one defensive player, if that, picked in the top 10 of this year's draft.